It's a long way away, but this part of eastern Pennsylvania feels a deep connection with the Idaho college murders. That's because the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, spent his teenage years here and most of his adult life before he moved to Washington State last summer. In December, people here were hit by a fact as cold and hard as steel, the once towering industry that fueled this part of Pennsylvania. One of their own was charged in a mass murder 2,500 miles away.
So I looked it up, I typed, Idaho murders, and then, holy crap, that's Bryan. That's Bryan, I know Bryan, That's wild to me. It's a shock, seeing someone you've known on TV.
Jack Baylis met Bryan Kohberger in 8th grade when the two of them ran with a group of boys in this neighborhood near Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
I want to say he wanted to be a cop since he was younger.
What kind of teenager was he?
He was pretty normal. He was definitely heavier set, and that caused issues in school, apparently.
But in high school, dramatic changes washed over Kohberger, according to several friends, including Baylis.
I believe it was the weight loss first. And I was, I want to say 14 to maybe 16, between there was the big weight loss. I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And then it was the drugs.
How did he get started in drugs?
He got in drugs via an acquaintance of his. It was definitely heroin. It was pretty gnarly.
Baylis doesn't know exactly when Kohberger got clean.
Last I saw him, he was pretty lucid.
But the two reconnected after Kohberger enrolled at DeSales University in Center Valley, right around the corner from Baylis's home. Kohberger's major, criminology.
He's always been kind of fascinated with kind of how the brain works and how people think and why they do what they do.
And so my senior year, I ended up in a biology class, which is where I met and interacted with Bryan Kohberger.
What were your first impressions of the guy?
Bryan seemed normal enough.
But that opinion did not last for Vernard James, a DeSales film student in 2018 when he attended a class with Kohberger.
One of the big parts of that biology class that we were in, we had a group project as a part of our final grade.
With 4 DeSales classmates on the project, Kohberger was chosen as team leader. Not surprising for the student DeSales professor Michelle Bolger called brilliant and one of the best students ever, according to an article in the Daily Mail. Dr. Bolger declined to comment to King 5. But to some classmates at the Christian University, Kohberger seemed more like a know-it-all.
The way that he came across in his speech, kind of person who has to use big words, the one always raising his hand in class.
And what happened then towards the end of this whole thing?
We're approaching the due date, and I was feeling like I was left out to dry.
Vernard James says Kohberger completed the class project without including him, resulting in a failed class in Vernard's final year at DeSales. He confronted Kohberger in the university library.
I remember him being very straight-faced, very almost emotionless with this. He kind of a small smile on his face. There's more to him than it seems. Very intense stare. I remember that. I'll never forget that. Looking right into my soul almost, as we were having this back and forth. Manipulative, cold.
Was he witnessing an odd personality trait or something more? After Kohberger's arrest, Vernard can't be sure.
It's not every day you expect to come into contact with someone who's accused of something like that, but I see it in some ways. I see the calculated side of him. We're talking about 4 vicious stabbings here.
Yeah.
Could your friend have done this?
I hope he didn't do it. I'm a big believer in innocent until proven guilty. So I hope someone I know didn't do that,
Here in Pennsylvania, we've been unable to reach anyone from Kohberger's family. A public defender here who represented him during extradition proceedings has said that Kohberger looks forward to being exonerated in Idaho. In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Chris Ingalls, King 5 News.